Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be showing you how to make this super cute little jellyfish here. Now this is my own pattern and this is how it looks. So for the materials for this jellyfish you will need some yarn, and this is just some worsted weight number 4 yarn. This is actually the Bernat Premium. I got this at Walmart. And for this I'm using 2 different colors, so I'm making the tentacles gray and the main body a teal turquoise color. You can do it all the same color, or you can do it different colors. You can even make the belly a separate color if you wanted to. It's kind of up to you. So I'm using these 2 right here. Then you will need a 5mm hook to go with your yarn. Also recommend using a stitch marker just to keep track of rows and so you don't have to count, and a darning needle to sew the pieces together, a pair of scissors just to cut the yarn, and some safety eyes or just some eyes here, and of course the backings that go along with it. And then finally, you will need some stuffing or polyfill. So to get started, I'm going to take my crochet hook and I'm going to use this teal color as the main color for the body. So first of all, I'm going to make a slip knot. So the way I do that is I wrap it around my fingers twice so that there's 2 loops up top. Then I take either my finger or the hook and I put it under the first loop and grab that second one and just pull it through, and then tighten it here, and then I can put my hook through it and tighten it onto the hook like this. So the first step is we have to make a magic circle, and we're going to crochet 6 single crochets into that magic circle. So I'm going to start off with a chain 2. I'm going to go 1, 2, and I'm going to go into that first chain. And then I'm going to do 6 single crochets into this one chain stitch. So that's 1, this is 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so it should look something like this, and then I'm just going to pull on my yarn to tighten the magic circle, and that is row 1. So for row 2, I'm going to increase in each stitch, which means I'm going to put 2 single crochets in each stitch. So I'm going to find my first stitch right here, and I'm going to insert my hook, and I'm going to do 1 single crochet, sorry, and then I'm going to go back into that stitch and do another single crochet. And I'm going to do that 6 times or until the end of the round. So 1 and 2, all the way around. Now if you lose count or you just want to make sure that you did it all 6 times, you can count your stitches and you should have a count of 12. Yeah, I have 12, so we are good to go. So it should look something like this. I'm just going to pull that. So this is what we have. So for row 3, we are going to single crochet 1 and increase in the next stitch. So I'm going to use my stitch marker for this just so I don't have to count the 6 times that I do this. I'm going to place my stitch marker in the stitch where my yarn is right here. And then I'm going to single crochet 1 into this stitch, and then single crochet 2 into the next stitch. So 1 and 2. And I'm just going to repeat that for the rest of the round. So 1, and then in the next stitch we're going to put 2 single crochets. So now I'm going to take the stitch marker out, and I'm going to finish up the round by placing 2 single crochets into that one. So this is what I have right here. This is what the wrong side looks like. This is what the right side is looking like so far. So for the next row, I'm going to put my stitch marker back in on this stitch right here. And then I'm going to single crochet 2 and then increase in the third stitch. So for the first 2, I'm just going to place 1 single crochet in the first 2 stitches, like that. And then in the third stitch, I'm going to increase, so place 2 single crochets into that stitch. And just repeat that for the remainder of the round. Okay, so now that I have that row finished, I'm going to move on. And we should have 24 stitches at this point, so I'm just going to check to make sure. Okay, so I have 24, so I'm right on track. So for the next row, I'm going to single crochet 3 in the first 3 stitches, or single crochet 1 in each of the first 3 stitches, and then increase in the 4th. So I'll show you guys what it looks like. I'm going to again place my stitch marker in that first stitch. So I'm going to go into the first stitch, place 1 single crochet, into the second stitch, place 1 single crochet, into the third stitch, place 1 single crochet, and into the fourth stitch, I'm going to place 2 single crochets. Like this. So that is what this next row is going to be, and you're just going to do that 6 times or until you get back to the stitch marker. Okay, so this is what it should look like at this point. You should have a total of 30 stitches around. And so this is the top right here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do 6 rows total. And we're just going to single crochet in each stitch. So you're just going to put 1 single crochet in each stitch around, and we're going to do 6 rounds of that. So 6 rows of just single crochet in each stitch. Okay, so this is what it looks like with 1 row of just the single crochets done. So we're going to do that 5 more times, and I'm going to go finish that part off camera, and I'll meet you guys back once I've done the 6 rows. Okay, so here's how it should look with the 6 rows done. So here it is. So for the final row, we're going to single crochet 3 stitches into every stitch. I just have to get my... So I'm going to use my stitch marker again. And this part is making the little ruffles here at the bottom. So just place 3 single crochets into every single stitch. That's 1, 2, and 3. So like that. And then the next one, 1, 2, and 3. And you're just going to do that for the whole way around. This row does take a little bit longer just because there are a lot more stitches, but it will be worth it because it is pretty cute. Okay, so here is what it looks like. So now I'm just going to fasten it off here. I'm just going to take my scissors and I'm just going to pull through. I'm also just going to cut the one in the middle shorter just so it's not in the way. And then I'm going to take my hook and I'm just going to put it through this stitch here and then grab the yarn, but leaving a loop on this side, and then grab the yarn just to make sure it's extra secure, just to knot it. And you could weave it in. I'm just going to cut it really short, but that is up to you. Like that. So now the head is done and you can put on your eyes. So I think I'm going to use this size right here. I think this is the same one that I used last time as well. There are really big ones that I could try too. But any size will work. This is kind of just personal preference. You can kind of put them wherever you want as well. I just like to put them a couple rows above the ruffles here, so that when the ruffles come up you can still see them. And then I'll just put on the backings like this, so that they're nice and secure and they won't fall off. And that is what it looks like. Okay, so now we're going to do the bottom of the jellyfish. So get right into it. It's pretty similar to the head or the top of the jellyfish, just with less steps, I guess. So we're gonna take our yarn and make our slip knot again. So we'll do this, put our finger under, grab it, and then pull and tighten. Then I'm going to insert my hook into the loop and tighten it onto my hook. So I'm going to chain 2 again, and we're going to be making another magic circle, and we're going to be putting 6 into the magic circle again. So into that first stitch, just put 6 single crochets. So that's 1, that's 2, this is 3, 4, 5, and 6. So then I'm just gonna count to make sure. Okay, so now I have my 6, so I'm just gonna pull on this end just to tighten my magic circle so that it looks like this. And then for round 2, we're going to increase in each stitch. So our stitch count is going to go from 6 to 12. So we're just going to place 2 single crochets in each stitch. So I'm going to find the first one, which is here. Insert my hook into that stitch, yarn over, and put 2 single crochets into that one stitch. And I'm going to do that 6 times, or until the end of the round. So just to make sure I did it 6 times, I'm just going to count. Okay, so I have 12, so that means that I'm on the right track. So now for this next row, I'm going to bring in my stitch marker just so I don't have to count. And then for the third row, I'm going to single crochet in one stitch and then increase in the next. So in this first stitch right here, I'm going to place 1 single crochet. In this next stitch, I'm going to place 2 single crochets. Like that. And you're just going to repeat that until the end of the round, or 6 times. Okay, so then this is what it should be looking like. So we have done the 3 rows so far. So we have 2 more rows to go. So for the 4th row, I'm going to place my stitch marker back in. And I'm going to place 2 single crochets and then increase in the next stitch. So in the next 2 stitches, I'm going to place 1 single crochet, and in the 3rd stitch, I'm going to increase or place 2 single crochets. So in this first one, just 1 single crochet. In the second one, just 1 again. And then in this third one, I'm going to place 2 to increase it. Like that. And so you're just going to repeat that until the end of the round. Okay, so you should have something looking like this so far. And your stitch count should be 24 at this point. Okay, so I have 24, so I'm right where I'm supposed to be. Okay, so for this last row, and this is the 5th row, we're going to, well, I'm going to place my stitch marker back in. And for this last row, we are going to single crochet 3 and increase in the 4th. So for this first stitch, we're going to place 1 single crochet. For the second stitch, we're going to place 1. For the third stitch, we're going to place 1 single crochet. And then in this 4th stitch, we are going to place 2 single crochets. Like this. And just repeat that pattern until the end of the round. So this is the completed bottom. These are all the rows that you need to do for the bottom. So to finish it off, I'm just going to take my scissors and cut off a decently long tail, because we're going to need to sew this onto the head. So I'm just gonna cut it there, and then I'm just going to pull it through. And then just tighten it. And yeah, so this is the bottom. So yeah, let's move on to the tentacles next. So for this, I'm going to be using this gray yarn, and this is what they look like, not on the jellyfish. So they will curl a little bit, and you do want to also leave a long tail for these. But here is what they look like on the jellyfish. So these are pretty simple to make, pretty quick as well. So I'm going to take my gray yarn here, and I'm going to start with a slip knot again. So take my 2 fingers and wrap it around twice, then put my finger under the first one and grab the second one and pull it through, and then tighten it like this. Set my hook into that loop and tighten. So to start off this one, I'm going to chain 15. So I'm going to chain 15. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. So this is what my chain of 15 looks like. Now I'm going to chain an extra 16th chain so that we can go into this stitch right here. So I'm going to chain 15 plus 1, or 16 total. And then I'm going to go in from the second chain on my hook, so this should be the 15th chain. And I'm going to place 1 single crochet into that chain. And then I'm going to place one more single crochet in the next chain. Okay, so then in the third chain from the hook, so I did 1 single crochet and then 1 single crochet, and now I'm going to place 2 single crochets into this third stitch from the hook. So now I'm just going to repeat that pattern all along, so until I get to the beginning. So I'm going to place 1 single crochet to this chain, then 1 single crochet into the next chain, and then 2 single crochets into the next chain. So I'm going to repeat that again. 1 single crochet in this one, 1 single crochet in the next one, and then 2 single crochets in the third one. And that is all that this tentacle is. It's really simple, really easy to do. And then afterwards, you just want to kind of twist it up a little bit. And then it should stay pretty curled. Like that. So then to finish off this one, I'm going to cut a long chain. And then I'm going to pull this through, and then I'm actually going to tie these two together just to make sure it's secure, and I'm going to triple knot it just so it doesn't fall apart. And then you could try and weave this in, but I'm just going to cut mine just because this is pretty small. So I'll just cut mine short. And that is all that there is to these tentacles. And so I would recommend for this size to do about 5. On this one, I did 5 tentacles, and this is how it looks. You can always do more or less, just kind of personal preference. I chose to do 5, so that is what I did. So now the final steps to making this jellyfish is to sew all of our pieces together. So I have pre-made the tentacles here. So we have all of our pieces. So I'm going to take my needle here, and I would recommend sewing the tentacles onto the bottom first before sewing it onto here. It just makes it easier. So I'm gonna put that to the side, and then I'm going to take this. I'm actually just going to cut this middle string here shorter just so it's out of the way. So the way I did this first jellyfish is I sewed one in the middle and then just kind of 4 on the outside, kind of making a diamond around this middle one. You can space it out however you want to. Just kind of depends on how many you have as well. So I'm going to put my yarn through my needle, and I'm going to first put it through, make sure you put it on the right side. So I'm going to put it through like this so that it's on the right side of the bottom. And then I'm just going to kind of find a stitch near it and sew it onto that. Just kind of weaving it in the stitches around it, just to make sure it's snug. And then if it's hanging kind of loose, you can always go back down, and I'm just gonna grab this stitch right here and then pull it back up, just so it's more secure and that there's more of it sewn on or connected to it, just so it doesn't fall off as easy. So then I'm just going to kind of knot it in a couple different places. So pull it not all the way through, and then put your needle through that loop, and then just kind of pull down. And then this is what it will look something like. And then this is going to not be seen, so I can just cut it. And you want to do that with all 5 of your tentacles. Okay, so I have all of my tentacles sewn on. This is what it looks like. So then I just thread the long tail onto my needle. So I'm going to start at the opposite side to where the eyes are. And I'm going to go into one of these holes. Doesn't really matter where you kind of start. You're going to come back to the beginning anyway. So I'm going to put it through here, and then this hole at the top, I'm going to put it through that too. Like that. And then on the bottom here, I'm going to find the next stitch and put my needle through both of those. And then I'm going to find the next little hole right here and put it through that stitch there. And then I'm just going to pull through all the way like that. So then I'm going to go back to here, find what stitch I went into before, go into the next one, and then find the next set of holes here, or like this stitch here, and I'm going to put it through there. And pull tight. And just keep going around. And there should be the same number of stitches on the bottom as there are on the head. So I'm going to go through this stitch on the bottom and then find this stitch on the head. Go through it like that. And pull it tight. And this is what it's looking like here. So you can't actually really tell. So that's what it's looking like there. And then just gonna keep doing that until you get back to where you started. And about 3/4 or halfway, once you're about 3/4 or halfway to being finished, you want to stuff your jellyfish. So make sure you don't forget that part, because you might get carried away and just stitch all of them, and then you won't be able to put your stuffing in. Because right now, the stuffing won't really stay and it'll just get in the way. So you just want to wait until you have most of it sewn on, and then you can stuff it. So to keep going, and I'll meet you guys back here once I'm ready to put the stuffing on. So I'm just gonna kind of stuff it. This is kind of just personal preference on how stuffed you want it. I'm just gonna kind of compare it to this one. This one, squish, is kind of not really hard to explain it, but just kind of stuff it until you think that it's good or that you like how the feel is. Try not to overstuff it because you don't want it to be like too hard, but like make sure there's enough in there that it gets everywhere. So I think something like this will be good. Maybe actually a little bit more. Okay, so now I'm just going to finish stitching up the jellyfish as I was before. The stuffing can get annoying, so just kind of be careful. So now I also just kind of want to connect it to the beginning, just that there's no holes there. So I'm just going to put my needle in that first stitch there, and then in the one I just did. Just pull through just to kind of make sure that there's no holes there. And then I'm going to find a place, so I'm just going to kind of put my needle, doesn't really matter where, but just I'm just going to use that stitch there. And I'm going to put a knot this and tighten it, and then I think I'll do one more just down on this stitch right here. Okay, like that. And then I'm going to take my scissors, and I'm not going to cut it super close. I'm just going to kind of cut it like, I don't know how far that is, but just kind of like this, just any length. And then I'm going to just kind of poke it into the jellyfish right here, so you can't see the end. And there you have it. Here is the jellyfish all completed. So this is what it looks like. So yeah, so I hope you guys were able to follow along and make it with me. So yeah, so this is how they turned out. I hope you liked this video, and I hope this helped you and you were able to make your own, and I'll see you all in my next one. Please like the video and subscribe, and thanks for watching. Bye.